Vice Mayor Kern,
Aye.
Mayor Myers.
I'm abstaining because the property was purchased from my sister-in-law and her husband.
The next item, item 8, public information period. The public information period is established by the rules of council to hear input from city residents or owners of businesses in the city. It will last for a maximum of 30 minutes. Speakers will be called in the order that they have signed to speak. If there are 10 or fewer speakers, each shall speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. If there are more than 10 people desiring to speak, the time allotted to each person may be adjusted or the number of speakers limited to meet the time limitation. A speaker may speak on items except those that are listed on tonight's council agenda. Any matter brought before the attention of City Council during this public information period will not be acted upon by City Council at this meeting. All requests received for public records during the public information period will be regarded as a FOIA request, including all applicable fees to provide this information. We have 4 speakers signed up to speak. The first speaker is Jewel Hill. The second speaker, Albert Stone.
Good evening, folks. How you doing? My concern is the 14% increase in the water bill. This city is basically taking everybody for a ride to the utilities, and it needs to find a place to stop. I've been living in the city of Petersburg these 65 years come September the 2nd. I was paying at one time on our water bill the same as the sewage going out of the city. Man, I'm paying almost 4 times for the sewage to leave my home to go into the wastewater treatment plant over here. It's just, right now I want to have me and my son living in the house. I'm on a fixed income, and it's leaving me less money each month to live on because of the increases of our water and our sewage and our garbage pickup. Every time I turn around, we get a different bill for it. The other thing that I had was the storm sewer tax that we're being paid. The storm water that's going into the drain is not going into the drains until 2 or 3 days later. These drains are stopped up. I brought this to city garage's attention about it. They tell me that I have the manpower or the equipment to clean up the storm sewers, but they're getting ready to get the new equipment, hire new people, and this is done over 2 years ago. I have water standing in the street in 2 areas of my neighborhood, and you drive through it, it will flood your car. And I don't know what, I've asked them about cleaning them out, they tell me it's the homeowner's problem to clean out the ditches in front of the house, the curb. And my property line stops 12 feet from the, about 12 feet from that, and I'm going on city property cleaning out something the city should be doing. The other one, I forget what it was. That's the one I can remember. I had a third one, but I can't remember what it was. But I really wish they would consider this thing on the 14% increase, because I just paid my water bill today for 8 cubic feet or 8 gallons of water, and the sewage and the garbage pickup of $95.80, and it's just 2 people living in the house. That is way too much money. When I was here less than a year ago, or a little over a year ago, I was paying $60-some a month every 2 months. It's gone up that much over the time. It's getting ready to run me out of the city. They keep going up, I'm gonna have to move. Then the property will either sit and be sold or just torn down, because there's no way in the world I can afford to keep going like I'm going when I make less than some of these other people. We got a lot of people in the city who own fixed incomes, a lot of people on welfare. They can't do it unless the state pays it. They can't do it. Thank you.
Mayor, council members, family, friends. This is my second time being at this meeting. The last time I just wanted to just sit and observe. I've been living in the town of Petersburg for over 23 years. I've raised 3 children that graduated from the school system here. This is my issue. Last year, I had several complaints about blighted neighborhoods. I wasn't born and raised here. I was born and raised in New York. So we didn't have the advantages of having yards, playgrounds, and things of that nature. Down here, we have that advantage, but unfortunately, not all of us take pride in where we live. I mentioned this to the powers that be last summer, because where I live, I'm surrounded by a lot and an abandoned house. I've had critters run through my house because of these abandoned issues. I brought the situation to my councilman, and he was very forthcoming in addressing the issue. This is the issue this year, gentlemen, lady, and that is, I am disabled, my wife is disabled, I'm a Vietnam veteran, I'm also a felon, I'm also a recovering drug addict. But that does not mean that I don't have the same rights as everybody else. I should be able to go in my backyard and not have to look at degradation. Now, I brought that attention to the powers that be this year. And the inspector came out and he indeed inspected, and he reminded me of an ordinance. I don't want to waste anybody's time. But the ordinance simply states, correct me if I'm wrong, that if grass is 12 inches or higher, you get ticketed, and then the process goes. By the time the grass gets cut, it's now 24, 36 inches high. My question to the representative of the city was how long he had lived here. And he stated to me he had been here over 30 years. And I asked him, was he a property owner? He said he was. And I asked him, when was the last time he allowed his grass to grow 12 inches? And he said, well, I never have. And I said, why? He said, because I take pride in my property. That's not kosher for my property. So I'm trying to understand here that this is what I have to do by law. I have to follow the processes here. And I do that. But in the meantime, things are not getting done. Now, according to what I believe, and I'm gonna shut up. It says that except the Lord builds the house, they that labor in it labor in vain. And except the Lord that keeps the city, the watchman waits, but it's in vain. Gentlemen, lady, I will no longer just sit back and observe. I can't do that. I spent too much investment in this town. I've been a guest of the building that y'all getting ready to tear down. I just want to let you know that I will be watching, I will be reporting, and because this is my neighborhood, and I want it to look better. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
The next speaker.
Good evening, members of council. My name is Linda Christian. I reside at 14 Listerville Street here in the city of Petersburg. I would just like to say, I would like to comment on the interesting news or seeing our city manager on the news telling us about the state of affairs of the city of Petersburg. It bothered me first and foremost to know that, as always, while we yet talk about improving our school systems, our school system is not going to get any money, or been told they're not going to get pretty much what they're asking for. Which brings me to this. First and foremost, I think we as the citizens deserve a right to know before we see our city manager on TV what our financial state of affairs are. We have been asking that since the beginning of time. And since the beginning of time up to this present, we have continuously been washed off. We also need to know, when we talk about transparency in this council's haste to close down our jail, How is transporting the inmates back and forth going to affect our budget? Because whether you believe it or not, it will affect our budget. But yet we're closing our city. When we talk about transparency, and I say that because it's a known fact that no meeting was held like it should have been with the sheriff, which then should not surprise me that we, the citizens, are not afforded the same opportunity to find out what our financial state of affairs are. Again, it was interesting to hear the mayor talk about all of the wonderful things we have going on and give a 5-minute blurb to our school system. That does not speak well for someone who's concerned about education. Last but not least, you had on the agenda about local government week. Well, my question is, how are you going to teach our kids, how are we going to have anything about local government week when the school system is closed this week? And then furthermore, what are we going to teach them? That it's okay to violate the rights of citizens because they owe taxes to the city? Or are we going to continue to teach them that our government is really not for the people? But come November, come June 9th, I hope that one thing our people learn about local government is that just like a tree, you can be uprooted and moved. Thank you.
A motion that we accept the Community Development Block Grant Annual Plan to reprogram funds in the amount of $50,000.
For a second. Councilman Moore.
Second, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Motion's been properly seconded. Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Question?
Yeah.
Councilman Wilson Smith.
Thank you. I just have a question of the city manager for my understanding, please. Can funds from Community Development Block Grant be forwarded to school system? Or does it have to be for items such as what we have listed?
Don't quote me on this, I have to go back and double check Mr. Young, but it would depend on what the project is and what the project is for. It doesn't fall in the guidelines of what community development block grant could be used for.
Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Coleman.
Abstain.
Councilmember Hart.
Aye.
Councilmember Hill.
Aye.
Councilmember Moore.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilson Smith.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Pern.
Aye.
Mayor Myers.
Aye, motion's passed.